What's up? What's going on? So today we're going to be doing another review on Basketball Wives. I guess you can't really say Basketball Wives LA, even though that's the hashtag I've been using, because they're now like Basketball Wives Atlanta, right? Because all of them is in Atlanta now. That's what they were saying for the most part, except Shaunie, who moved to Houston or wherever she moved to. So yeah, so that's a little bit different. I was just realizing it while I was listening to all of their stories and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I did want to mention. As far as the shows that I'm doing right now, I stopped the majority of them just because I didn't feel like you guys really cared about them. So the only one that I'm going to really do right now is going to be Basketball Wives. And we'll see how that goes depending on how the views look. I know the first episode looked okay. And we're not going to do Married at First Sight anymore because no one cares. Even though it's a pretty interesting show, I guess I'll stick to my Twitter recaps with my peoples on there. And what else? Yeah, I think the only other show we were doing was I was gonna say Love and Hip Hop. I just started watching that one. It's actually pretty good. I wasn't gonna watch it because I'm like, the reunion, what's that? But it's actually pretty good. Oh yeah, Real Housewives of Atlanta. But yeah, that one's a dub as well. We'll probably just do the reunion when that comes up. So anyway, let's talk about this one that we're actually doing. So we traveled back in time, back to when coronavirus first hit, George Floyd, the protests, all those things. Is like, even though they all occurred for us last year, a lot of these shows are just starting to show their episodes now because, you know, a lot of them had to halt production. So that was something where they had to figure out creative ways to still be able to create you know, these episodes. So it was a lot that was going on with them as well. So it's like finally now we're able to see these things. So isn't it crazy how much Doug and what Dougie, is the son named Dougie? I don't even know. But how much he looks just like his father. Like literally it looked like he went and just spit him out. It's like a spitting image of his father. It's crazy to me. I don't even see Jackie at all. I mean, maybe if you really put them close together, you'll see the two of them, but I'm just seeing his dad like all the way, just like with some hair on his head and looking a little younger. So meanwhile, Shaunie, she was in Houston and she was talking to her daughter. I think her name is Mearah or Mearah. I tried to sound it out here so I wouldn't forget because I had a feeling I would forget. Mearah. So she was telling her she needed to fix up the room and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, I go through that with these kids all the time, especially my son. Like, he don't be wanting to do none of that crap. Like, dude, I don't care if this is your room. This is my house. Therefore, you need to make sure that you fix it up, okay? So, yeah, that's her little struggle with her because it's just the two of them at this point. She seems like she's more like, you know, like an athletic type of chick. So she wants to be out there playing her sports and stuff, and she hasn't been able to do that. The mom is trying to come up with creative ways, like, oh, you know, we could have imaginary people. I'll run some plays with you. She's like, no, we're not gonna do that, okay, Mom? It's something I would do. Like, yo, I got this. Let's do this, even though knowing damn well it ain't gonna work out. It's gonna be boring as crap. So Kirsten, yeah, she's back and she goes to see Malaysia. They formed their own little quarantine, as they called it, just to keep themselves safe from the coronavirus. They mentioned that Cece's now married to Byron, so you know that's all good. So Malaysia did say in the commentary section, like, oh, you know, she's married now, so I doubt she'd wanna be with the ladies. No, you know, you had a little discussion and she said, I ain't coming back. Or somebody was like, you know what, you don't need to come back because your ratings ain't up enough. People don't like you enough for you to come back, so we're gonna try some new people. Okay, so it was one of those two things. Not, oh yes, I don't think she'll be. No. Be honest. I mean, I know they have to say the politically correct or whatever types of things so it can sound a certain way, but girl, I read between the lines. I already know. So Malaysia said that the last 3 months during the protests were hard for her because of everything that happened with her son, with her brother, and how he was brutally murdered by the police because he had went into his pocket instead of having his hands up when he was approached in the park, and therefore they shot him. And it's something that she was really, really close with her brother, so it's something that she felt like maybe she could have done something. You always have those moments in your mind where when something bad happens, you're like, damn, what could I have done differently? Like, could I have been with him? Could I have driven him there? Could I have given him a speech when he was younger? Like, there's so many things that you're in your head. You're like, damn, how could this have been prevented? And just me being an empath myself, it's just seeing her go through this. I can almost feel everything that she's going through, feel her pain and, her hurt, her sorrow. Like, those were real tears that were coming from her, real emotions. And, it just seems like something that she may never, honestly, she may be able to cope with eventually, but I don't think she'll ever be able to fully, like, recover from it. Just because of the way that everything happens, and I don't think that she ever received any full closure. So Kirsten allowed Malaysia to meet like another person that had a similar issue as far as gun violence with the police, just to kind of allow her to hear someone else's story and see what they were doing. This woman, her son's name was Jamarian Robinson. Her name was Montserratian. I feel like I've heard that name Montserratian before. But he was shot 76 times by the police. I don't know the backstory, but that was the part that they mentioned. And, she's doing a lot of things to empower, to help bring change, to kind of change some of the laws that we currently have where the cops get off for doing things like this and way too easily. Look at the whole situation with Breonna Taylor, how they didn't even put murder on the table when they were giving him the charges. And then on top of that, he didn't even get anything. It's almost like a slap on the fist or whatever. It wasn't any like real full-on felony charges. It was more like misdemeanors. So, and it wasn't even because they killed her, it's because they endangered the lives of other people that didn't even get shot in other apartments, if I remember correctly. So, just, it's too many, it's like, almost like the law is for everybody except black people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just made for black people to kind of fail. And, when you really sit, I try not to, like, dwell in it too much because it really gets to me. But it's like, how could the world in America, like, how could we be this way? How? And you see, like, a lot of these other countries, even though they have their issues, a lot of them, race has not been such a big of a divide as it has been in America. Like, when I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, they said that Canada wasn't something like this. And my brother, who lives in England, he said that he never knew that things like this could happen because it's not the same type of way, like, so it's crazy. I told him, I do fear for my son at times because this is what happens. He said he never knew it was that bad until he saw a video online on YouTube about how a black guy got shot down just driving his car, It's crazy, but a lot of these videos, social media is helping a lot of people to put their stories out there. There are a lot of people who have never gotten their chance to have their stories heard, but it is helping that a lot of people coming up that are experiencing this are able to have this platform to share, so people are actually able to view what's really going on in America. So she did take a moment later, it was like much later on in the episode, but just to kind of speak to her kids, her 3 kids, about everything that's going on and what they should expect, how they are viewed as fearful, even at their young age, like just growing up being black people, it's something that they have to kind of worry about. And I do talk to my son, but I do worry for him because he's very stubborn and I don't feel like he fully understands or fully gets it. I feel like because he's not super sheltered because, you know, at the end of the day, we are from the hood or whatever, but I've tried my best for a long time to keep him somewhat sheltered. So compared to how he's growing up, it's not how I grew up. Like, I feel like I was more prepared for a lot of stuff that went down. Him, I feel like he's so unprepared for the world, and I'm definitely trying, as well as, you know, his father, he has his father in his life, as well as obviously his stepfather, and we try to help shape him, but it's sometimes that's just not enough, you know? And like I said, he's such a stubborn kid that it's like, even when I talk to him, I feel as though he feels like, yeah, you know, that's not gonna happen to me, or ain't nobody gonna talk to me crazy. And it's like, this is not the time to have that ego. This is not the time to try to look good in front of your friends. This is the time to, even though I told you always stand up for yourself, like, this is the moment where you kind of have to take a seat back and just kind of take it, you know? And that's hard for young boys. That's hard for young men to have to, and it shouldn't have to be that way. Why should they have to sit down and be talked to as though they are slaves, or as though they are less than, just because of the color of their skin, and because they are looked at as a threat? Therefore, if they get crazy, or if they speak back, if they speak up, if they say the law as it should be, oh, you are not allowed to stop and frisk me, or you should not be trying to look through my trunk of my car because you do not have a warrant, they can possibly get shot just for speaking up and making the officer look bad. You know what I mean? I remember I saw something on TikTok, and I'm not going to go too far into the whole racial injustice, but I saw something on TikTok where the lawyer, he was saying pretty much if they try to, like, you know, search you, that you're supposed to say, like, he's something along the lines, like, just kind of paraphrasing, like, you are not allowed to do this, you know, and that should be okay. I'm like, dude, and let us try to do something like that. That is not gonna go the same way. Like, he showed it, like, sir, you are not allowed to do that, and the cop just let him go. Like, no. that is something where it depends on, you know, who you are, your statue. Of course, you being like somebody that knows the law and things like that. It could be even a black police officer or a black lawyer, and they could possibly get the same treatment until the police officer actually sees their credentials, proves their credentials, and then they might give them some respect after that. Oh boy, the world we just live in. Like, but like I said, like, I never thought about it before, you know, having a black child, because I was a young mother in the beginning. But it's just like, now that he's getting older and he's starting to do more things on his own, like, now is the time where it gets really, really scary, you know? And, you know, it's no less obviously for our daughters. Well, it is a little bit more of a chance for our daughters to survive, but for the guys, it just seems like it's just so much worse. But I feel like just the color of your skin in general, regardless of your gender, could cause an issue. So yeah, that's definitely a lot to kind of, it's a lot. So Evelyn, she reveals to us that her stepfather, Larry, I remember they said it somewhere, I think it was on TMZ, I heard this, or somewhere I did hear that, her stepfather, he passed away. So it has been hard for her, because that was like the only father figure that she had in her life, and he seems like he was a good person to her. So it did kind of hit her family really hard. He got pneumonia, and from there he just kind of passed away. But we know, as we see that she is moving on, getting a bigger, better place. This lady has so many shoes, like the shoes take up the whole room. I'm like, dang girl, you need a yard sale or something. Some of them shoes she ain't even wear. That's the crazy part. I mean, you only got but 2 feet. If you got hundreds of shoes, you probably only wear some of them realistically, especially if you have favorites. You'll wear only some of them realistically maybe once a year, you know, for the amount that she has. And especially right now, she wasn't really going to no events or nothing. Some of them, they just look cute, and it's like retail therapy. because I've had those moments. Or I wore something once and I'm like, dang, you know, I spent all this damn money for it and I ain't wear it again. Even like outfits. I hate that sometimes. Like you wear something and it's like, you know you're never going to wear it again, you know. But at least now they have places that you can sell these things like Mercari and Poshmark, eBay, and wherever else, you know, all these other damn new apps that are out there. So Jen, she's back as well. It doesn't seem like she's a main person anymore, you know, because she done messed with the wrong people. So they ain't really effing with her like that. But she's also in Atlanta now. And she reveals that she had COVID. But she had the easy COVID. The one where you can't smell or can't taste. And therefore, you can go undetected for a while. But she said when she got her test, it did show that she had the antibodies for it. So that lets you know that she did have it at some point. So at least, you know, it went well for her. She didn't end up in the hospital or anything. It's crazy how some people, they barely get anything, while others, they're like, you know, at death's door. But I guess it's all about underlying issues that they may not have even realized that they had, or could be just living inside their body kind of dormant. And then when this virus attacks them, they're left defenseless. But yeah, she was out there living her best life as though coronavirus wasn't happening. And, you know, it's just crazy how some people just kind of take it for a joke, or they're like, you know what, YOLO, we got one life to live, I'm going to do what I got to do. But I don't know. For me, it's just like, I've heard people say things like that. But I'm like, you know, for me, I also want to be cautious. You know, I don't want to be the cause of my family getting sick or vice versa. Like, I'm always talking to them when they go out, like, you know, mask up, bring their hand sanitizer, like, you know, do what you got to do. Don't be out here, like, just doing whatever. And that's the part that I really, like, it really concerns me. Especially, like I said, once again, with my son, you know, sometimes he is with his other parent, and his other parent doesn't take this whole pandemic as seriously as I do. So we've had back and forths and going at it about the situation. But I always tell my son, which I don't know if he's really following it when he's with him. I know he does with me. But I'm like, yo, I don't care what he says. You need to make sure you are doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, you live here and you have to come back here, you know, and it's gonna, you know, I'm not trying to have you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to speak bad things into existence, but y'all get the point. So, yeah, they going on this little mini girls vacation. All the girls is in one spot, and the other girls that the most hated is going to be in another spot. So that's going to be Jackie, Jen, and who's the third one? OG. They're going to be in the next spot. So, yeah, so they could kind of split it up, I guess. So once things, they all probably going to meet in the main house, but then once things start getting heated, they could go back to their own spots and disperse and cool down a little bit so nothing get too crazy. I mean, we definitely know OG and Evelyn, they can't really be together too much because they have the lawsuit going on. But I don't think they have a restraining order, so that allows them to be in the same space if needed or for filming purposes. OG talks to her family about the situation. Did you see her mother was dressed to kill? That's how West Indian people, African people, Haitian people, well, Haitian people are West Indian, but, you know, they just do. They will dress up to the nines because they know company's coming or it's going to be a special event. But she was full makeup on, hair looking snatched. She got her little yellow outfit on. Like, mama was ready, camera ready. She stayed ready, so she had to get ready, boo. She's like, you ain't gonna catch me slipping. So, you know, she made her little piece, and all the rest of them was giving her advice because she told them, you know, she's going to be doing this little event or whatever. So, yeah. So, but she don't really know what to expect. But the last scene that they showed was OG talking to Kwame, and he told her to just kind of stick to herself and only jump if people like get at you. That's when you like, bruh, you know, that's when you get crazy, is if they were to bother you. But for now, you don't. He was like, just chill out. and she said the main issue that she has with this group is that the girls deny the colorism issue. She said, but they're guilty of the problem. She also said that if you're darker and you get treated a certain way, that's pretty much colorism, which obviously we all know. But I do kind of feel now, hearing the way that she's saying it, I do kind of feel like she's taking colorism a little bit out of context, because as we see, although, you know, unless we're going to go into like hair textures, her and and Kirsten, which Kirsten said she's never experienced this type of colorism with a group. But, you know, Kirsten's pretty too. Like, I feel like it could be featureism if you want to get into a different type of ism. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like, you know, I feel like sometimes people that look better, they get treated better. Like Jen, she almost looks like she could be like some type of little model or something, you know, with her features. And then Kirsten, she's the same as them. She's the same. I feel like she's similar complexion, and they treat her normal. You know what I mean? So I think that it could be more so her features are not as favorable as some, because I've seen that on YouTube. Like, there are certain people that people will gravitate to, people with like the big lips or certain eyes, or, you know, a certain face shape, as opposed to other facial, or people with certain faces is like, you gotta go the extra mile to get people to gravitate towards you. So I've noticed things like that. So it could be something more along those lines, as opposed to using colorism as is, because the way that she was saying, like, all the women in the group, but I don't feel like it's all the women in the group. Like, it's more so, if you're going to talk about somebody, stick to the person that you're talking about, which is Evelyn. Not you're talking about everybody, because now you're taking it out of context and you're making it seem weird. Like, now I don't know if I can believe you because you're saying something else. If you want to say you know, some of the things that what's her name said kind of, you know, waver along that line, then possibly, you know, but now you stretching it. You stretching it, sis. You stretching it. And then she said that she countersued because she landed in the hospital. Like, baby, you just try to avoid that lawsuit. That's what you try to do. But that's pretty much it, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Later.